everybody, it is I, the Great Clement, and the next Sonic game we're going to be looking at is the last one on the Game Boy Advance. So I know what you're thinking, is it as good as Sonic Advance 1, 2, and 3? No, not at all. But here's the surprising thing. The game we're going to be talking about is called Sonic Genesis, and in reality, it's just a port of the original Sonic the Hedgehog, the original classic game that started the series off, the first Sonic LP I did back in February 6th, 2010! Wow, I've been doing Sonic games since February 6th, 2010!
And generally speaking, I don't usually look back on ports or compilations because, you know, the games I talk about are the games I talk about. Compilations are just getting those games I talked about and combining them into one box set. You know, that's why I never really looked at Sonic Jam. That's why I never looked at Sonic Mega Collection or Sonic Gems Collection. It's just because all the games in those collections I have looked at. The compilations, not so much. Sonic Genesis, however, is a much different port. It's a very, very bad port.
So, time to go into the details, my lovelies, of why this game is incredibly, incredibly infamous.
Alrighty, so the good thing about Sonic Genesis is that there are two modes to play. You can play the original Sonic mode, which has no spin dash, or the anniversary mode Sonic, which has a spin dash. That's it. Anniversary mode does not have Tails, it does not have Knuckles, and yeah. You can also warp to whatever level you want without having to put in an up, down, left, right, A, press start cheat at the title screen like the classics game. So it saves, you know, you can choose whatever level you want, but that's where the positives end here, ladies and gentlemen. This is Sonic Genesis. Again, just a port of Sonic 1, right? Nothing wrong with that. And I know what you're thinking, holy shit, Clement, your emulator is like really bad because, man, the slowdown is terrible. This isn't good at all. That's not the emulator's fault. I'm not kidding. All of the slowdown you're going to be seeing in Sonic Genesis like this, that's actually how the game is. I'm not fucking kidding. Although, ironically, there's no slowdown in the special stages, because in the special stages they get really sped up, and the physics is all wrong with these levels, and everything's just all bizarre. But, yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, there are three giant reasons why Sonic Genesis is a terrible and infamous Sonic game, and a clear example of what was so wrong about the dark age of Sonic. I mean, this is the original game. When you're just remaking the original game, how do you fuck it up so much? How am I able to jump onto Dr. Eggman here multiple times when I couldn't do that in the original Genesis game? It's, special. But the three problems. One, the slowdown. The slowdown is atrocious. You can hear the music running at normal speed, but you'll look in the top left and the timer is actually going way slower than it should. My video is like 3 minutes long, and yet somehow the gameplay timer is like 2 minutes and 20 seconds. You know what I mean? It's unbelievably atrocious how slow this thing goes. You'll always be like trying to get into it, but Sonic moves at the speed of molasses, and then out of nowhere, he'll just randomly speed up again. It's like the slowdown always chooses when to go on and off. It's absolutely frustrating. It doesn't feel fast. You know, the whole point of Sonic the fucking Hedgehog to run fast? And if it doesn't feel fast, and if it just constantly slows down and speeds up and slows down and speeds up on you, it's absolutely a jumbled mess, and you can't take it seriously, and you don't know. It's not consistent, and it's not satisfying, and it's just terrible.
Now, if you're one of those people who consistently commented on my non-Sonic videos and told me to stop stalling Sonic Genesis, I wasn't stalling Sonic Genesis. The slowdown on this game is so bad, it took forever for me to get all the footage I needed for this video. Also, go fuck yourself!
Number 2. The physics and the momentum is screwed beyond belief. You can stop running with Sonic and he will keep running for way longer than should ever be possible, you know? Like, Sonic, for some reason, just will not stop unless you actually push left on the control pad and stop him manually. Like, there's a time where you could actually go down a hill, and if you let go of the control pad, Sonic would keep running and running and running and running for, like... It must have been, like, I don't know, 10 seconds. It's absolutely unbelievable. Sometimes the jump physics, I feel, are really awkward and weird. I mean, everything just feels wrong, you know? Sometimes you can get crushed in the stupidest things. Like the final boss fight with Dr. Eggman, you know when he pops up with those 4 containers and he's hiding in one of them and you have to hit him in one of them? You can actually get crushed by standing on the side of one as it's raising, and that counts as getting crushed somehow. It's in the Brain Scratch Comms playthrough. A good playthrough, if I must recommend, because I'm not doing a playthrough of this crap. But, yeah, this game has terrible physics. You know, Sonic runs too fast, he speeds up, slows down whenever the hell he wants. There's no momentum to work with on this stupid game. So it absolutely is just awkward as hell to play. And another thing that really takes away from the experience, I clipped through that spring there, but the other thing that really ruins the experience here is just, it's not as good as the original in any way, shape, or form. The music sounds atrocious, even for the Game Boy Advance. Like, there were Sonic pieces in Sonic Advance, if you remember. Like, you could go into the sound test and actually listen to Starlight Zone and Scrap Brain Zone and the original Dr. Eggman boss fight theme in Sonic Advance, and they sounded great. In Sonic Genesis, they sound piss poor. They sound really terrible. It makes the GBA sound chip sound so bad and like it's not worthy, you know? The sound effects are weird. You hit Dr. Eggman and it's like boop, boop, boop. You know, it's not like the traditional crash and stuff. The springs make bad sounds. Like, look at this slowdown. It's absolutely garbage. I'm not doing anything to this footage. This is what Sonic Genesis really is like. I mean, Sonic Genesis is just a mess. It may seem like the original Sonic you all know and love, but it's not. It just really isn't. And by the way, I've never actually finished this game because every time I get to Labyrinth Zone, I absolutely lose my shit and I turn it off. It's the same reaction I have with Sonic Spinball on the Game Gear, where I can't play this anymore. I could finish it, you know, it's not like it's impossible to finish, but fuck it, you know, underwater sections are already tedious enough, and when I'm slowing down more underwater, I don't want to play this game anymore. This is an embarrassment for Sonic Team. You know, this game came out on September in 2006, and it was supposed to be like the 15th anniversary celebration of Sonic. Like, this is supposed to celebrate Sonic the Hedgehog. That is embarrassing! If you showed this game to any video game developer, Shigeru Miyamoto, he would laugh his ass off at the prospect that Sonic the Hedgehog was supposed to compete with Mario? Look at Sonic Team now. They can't even do a good port of their original good game. It's just Sonic 1. How do you fuck up Sonic 1? And there have been plenty of Sega Genesis, Super Nintendo games on the Game Boy Advance that have fared pretty well. Mega Man and Bass, the Donkey Kong Country series, I'm pretty sure Comic Zone and Earthworm Jim and stuff. I don't know how they fucked this up so bad. Probably because they were working on another game at the time and they didn't want to outsource it to Dimps, who probably could have done a good job with it. After all, they did the Sonic Advance series, which is 10 times the game that Sonic Genesis will ever be. It boggles my mind how Sonic Team could let this happen to their star franchise. You know, when you pick out the lineup of Sega games, is it Space Channel 5, is it Shenmue, is it Echo the Dolphin? No! Sonic the Hedgehog is their lead mascot. And this is how they're treating Sonic on the Game Boy Advance? Oh, and for that matter, why is it on the Game Boy Advance? Sonic Rush came out in 2005 on the Nintendo DS, a year before. So if it came out a year before on the Nintendo DS, why didn't you put this on the DS? Why didn't you just do a better job with this? It boggles the mind. It's a atrocious game, guys. You know, it's pretty terrible. But, you know, I will end all this ranting with this little statement. A lot of people consider Sonic Genesis the worst Sonic game ever made. And, you know, it's pretty bad. It's pretty bad. I'm not going to dispute that. I would never play this. You know, it's terrible. But at the same time, I can't call it the worst Sonic game ever made because, I don't know, there's something about the fact that it's Sonic 1 done horribly that makes me go, no, you know, that's not bad enough. You know, there is Sonic 1. Sonic 1 you can find anywhere at this point in 2012. You could find it in Sonic Jam. You could find it in Sonic Mega Collection. You could find it in Sonic's Ultimate Genesis Collection. You can find it on the DS and PSP under their collections. So it's not like you can't get a handheld Sonic 1. It's on Xbox Live. It's on PlayStation Network. It's on the WiiWare. It's actually bundled in with Sonic Generations. At this point in time, ladies and gentlemen, I don't see what's so bad about Sonic Genesis, because quite frankly, it's the ugly duckling. It's the terrible version of Sonic that no one should ever play, but no one's going to play. Because if you're going to get a Sonic game for the Game Boy Advance, it's going to be Sonic Advance. It's not going to be Sonic Genesis, because everyone can get access to Sonic 1, and why wouldn't they just play Sonic 1? So no, you know, Genesis doesn't offend me that much. It's a terrible game. It's a terrible version of a great game, but there is so much worse out there to be mad at.
So no, I do not consider Sonic Genesis the worst Sonic game ever made. This might be a bastardized version of a great game, but it's not its own original piece of shit. It's not a game that took 10 hours out of my life with infuriating load times, terrible fucking glitches, a story that makes me roll my eyes in despair and anger. It doesn't have stupid side missions where you're walking a dog or doing fucking mathematician equations. It doesn't have stupid, and I mean stupid, game design. That game sucks, but it is nothing, and I repeat, nothing compared to the atrocity that was Sonic 06. I have referenced that game in every playthrough I've ever done because I still feel the unbelievable hatred that I do for that game, even today, 6 years later, because Sonic 06 is a goddamn piece of crap, and I never, ever want to see that thing again. Sorry. I got a little carried away, again. But I hate that game so much. Well, Dr. Eggman, what's next on the list? As you wish. No. Oh yes, Sonic 06 came out on the exact same day as Sonic Genesis. Oh. Well, I guess the next game will be Sonic Rivals for the PSP. I didn't realize you were so much of a chicken! No, I'm not doing Sonic 06. I've gone over this many times, Dr. Eggman. I hate the game. I hate it more than any person should ever hate a game ever. Mega Man X6 I would replay in an instant over this fucking abomination. It is the worst game I have ever played, and so I'm skipping it. I'm not talking about it. There's nothing to go over. Come on, Clement. You just know your fans are going to bother you and badger you for the rest of your life if you choose to ignore this game. You have to face Sonic 06. I don't care what the fans want. I gave them a playthrough. I commentated over this piece of crap with Brain Scratch Comms. I commented on it with Johnny and Ryan and Lewis, and we had a grand old terrible time. And they want me to go through that shit again? I am never doing a Let's Play of Sonic 06. That's not happening. I've been in a playthrough. I'm not doing my own playthrough. It's not fucking happening. So, screw it. No 06. It's over. End of discussion. Well, it seems your credibility is now forever gone. I guess you aren't the great LPer I thought you were. I guess you are a chicken shit.
Now I understand why Johnny beat you in that Sonic Generations contest. You're not all you're cracked up to be, Great Clement. And if you back down from Sonic 06 now, if you turn tail and hide and run away, then I guess you're the biggest pussy on the planet.
Fine.
Good, I needed something to laugh at.
But on one condition. This is not going to be a playthrough. I stand by that. It's not going to be a Let's Play. But what this is going to be is a giant review. A multiple-parter, if you will. For the next month, I am going to be dissecting this piece of shit for the god-awful, terrible video game that it is. I'm not going to leave any stone unturned. I'm going to get every problem I have with this game out in the open so no one ever asks me again. This is the end of it. Now, I destroy Sonic 06 for good.